The road to £100 weight loss is a daunting start. If you've got a lot of weight to lose, and I did have a lot of weight to lose, then thinking about starting a weight loss journey where your goal is maybe 50, 60, 70 pounds, 100 pounds, 150 pounds, that's a daunting start. It's almost hopeless. You just think you can't even envisage what it's like to lose that much weight. I can't, and I've done it before. I've lost a significant amount of weight before. But even starting back in October of 2024, I didn't know where I was going to go or how much I wanted to lose or needed to lose, because I couldn't envisage getting down to a goal weight of 140 or 150 pounds. When I started at 247 pounds, which is 17 stone 9 or 112 kilos, I just wanted to get below a weight that I had been when I'd been successful, and that was 125 pounds. So I wanted to get lower than 125 pounds. 200 pounds seemed amazing. Like, just to reach 200 pounds seemed like that would be a huge achievement for me. So when I started, I kind of had the 100 pounds in the back of my mind to get to 140 or 150 pounds. I had that in the back of the mind, but I didn't think it was possible. Not as a 55-year-old menopausal woman that had been overweight for at least the last 20 years, if not longer, and had kind of just given up on herself. But what I did do was I got rid of all of my preconceived ideas. I've talked about this before. I said I would never go on Ozempic because that was all anybody spoke about. I would never do that. I just wouldn't do it. But I'd reached a stage where I couldn't go on anymore. And there is the expression, when the pain of staying the same is worse than the pain of change, then that's when you take action. And that's where I got to. I couldn't stand to be in the body I was in back in October anymore, or back in September. I just couldn't stand it. I knew something had to change. And the weight loss medication was something I'd never tried. And the turnaround for me was really quickly. I went from probably August time thinking I'd never do that. Oh my God, everybody's doing this. To by the 1st of October, I couldn't wait to get home and inject myself with that first shot. What I did do, and I don't know if I did it consciously or unconsciously, but I didn't really think about next week or next month or getting to 50 pounds or getting to 20 pounds. When I took it, I was so obsessed with learning about what this medication was, how it worked, what its mechanism of action was, what I could expect, other people who were doing it, what other people were eating, that kind of thing. I became so obsessed with learning as much about it as possible that I actually didn't really think about how much I wanted to lose that first week, or, what my expectations were. So that was good because it preoccupied my time. And if you are new to this, I would say do the same thing for yourself. Go watch as many videos of as many different people who are doing this medication as you can. You'll find somebody whose voice that resonates with you and you can follow them. And I think for the very beginning, there's a massive fly in here. I think for the beginning, just preoccupying your thoughts with other things other than like your end goal is going to be really beneficial for you. So don't think about, the long term. Just focus on today and tomorrow. Focus on the next meal. What are you going to do? What are you going to eat? Are you getting your protein in? Are you drinking enough water? Have you been out for a gentle walk today? Even if you haven't walked, in a long time, could you just like take, I don't know, 100 steps, 500 steps, just to do something? I wouldn't say go blazing into the gym and, signing your life away and things like that and wanting to, become a bodybuilder. Really, really small, tiny, achievable goals. And I said in my Saturday weigh-in video that I set myself loads of mini goals. And I gave you a couple of them on Saturday. Things like at the moment, I think my weight was 181 pounds when I weighed in on Saturday, or 12 stone 13, or 82.1 kilos, I think it was. I set myself all these mini goals. And one of them was to get into the 12 stone bracket, which I did. The next one is to get into the 170s. So I'm sort of like 1 and a bit pounds away from that. Keep these goals very small and achievable and do a wide range of them. Even if it's like to be able to bend over and do up your shoes without feeling that you're going to have like an aneurysm. That feeling when you're overweight and you bend over to do your shoelaces. It feels like all the blood goes into your head and your head's about to pop off. Small, maybe non-scale victories, getting into your favourite pair of jeans that you used to wear, or even just one size down. When we focus on the macro, it just feels impossible. So if I was to say to you, I'd like you to walk to China, you might think, oh, that's impossible. Well, unless you live in China. You think, oh, that's impossible. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I could walk to China. It's really, 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 really far away. But I could do it. It would take me months and months and months. But if I said, do you know what, I need to walk 10 miles tonight to start my journey, then that's a good start. All those expressions, Rome wasn't built in a day, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. All of these things are about focusing on the micro, not the macro. Take the next right step. What's the next thing you can do for yourself in this moment or in the next 5 minutes to benefit your weight loss going forward? If it's to even keeping it really simple, even if it's like eating 100 grams of protein a day, like set yourself a target. Or if you haven't drunk water for a long time, drinking 2 litres of water sounds really, really daunting. I wasn't really a water fan when I started. I have a nice bottle of cold water here. I kind of walk around with it now. I've become one of those people that always has water by me. But if you haven't got used to drinking water, or you haven't drunk water in a long time, or you've been a soda drinker, or I'm a big coffee drinker, just set yourself, drink a glass of water. I'd encourage you to drink more if you're on a GLP1 medication, but, start small, start from where you are, But make these small little micro goals in the day, because then if you achieve it, you're going to get a sense of satisfaction. You're going to get, oh yeah, like a little tick. Even if you want to write yourself 3 things or 5 things on a notepad, and do a little checkbox, and then you can check them off. I'm a huge list maker. I make lists for everything. Partly because I can't remember anything anymore. But I make these lists, and then when I tick it off, it is that thing that's done. And there's a book, I think it's called Swallow the Frog, I think it's called. And it talks about getting your worst thing out of the way as early in the day as possible. And then once you've swallowed the frog, that's your big thing that you don't want to do, then that's ticked off the list, and everything else by comparison doesn't seem quite as daunting. So, for example, going back to the water, if you're not a water drinker and you don't like drinking water, maybe your swallow the frog moment can be to drink 8 to 10 ounces of water first thing, or as near to first thing as you can. Or if you have decided to get rid of all of your old diet ideas, like I did, all of them, I threw them all out of the window, and you're going to eat breakfast, but you don't like the thought of it, like get up, make yourself a cup of coffee and make yourself breakfast and eat it. Get it out of the way. You know, get your big thing that you don't want to do out of the way. If you don't like exercise or you don't like going for a walk, get that out of the way, and then you can do it. And you've got that one thing that you've done for yourself to, you know, get your weight loss journey off on a good start for that day. And you can start every day. Do the little things and the big things will build up. I'm 8 months into my Mounjaro now, weight loss, and I'm down 67 pounds essentially I've lost since I started this. So I've got about 33 pounds to go to reach that 100 pound target. But if I'd have only had that 100 pound target, that's a long way to go to get like a little check. You know, that's why I have always set these little goals. And as the further I've gone on this sort of weight loss adventure, let's call it, the more mini goals I put in place. So I create new goals, and I think of new ones all of the time. If you followed me for a little while, you know that one of my non-scale victories, or one of my non-scale things that I want to do, is to go horse riding. And to go horse riding at the stables by me, you had to be, I think it was 15 stone or under. And I was so delighted when I reached that 15 stone mark, because it meant I could go horse riding. I could get on one of their horses. Now, I'm already sort of like 2 stone or 28 pounds past that limit. And the reason I didn't do it was because I'd torn my rotator cuff, and I was warned about going horse riding, just because obviously, like, if you've ever known horses and there are flies around and everything, they'll throw their head. And if I was holding onto the reins, obviously I could jerk my shoulder. So I haven't done that. So that's one of the goals that I want to do, is to get back on a horse. I used to do a lot of horse riding. I haven't done it in years because I've been too heavy. And even if I did find a stable that would have allowed me, I don't think I would have had the confidence to go. I think I would have just been mortified that I'd go there and they'd say, oh, you're too heavy, you can't ride, and other people would hear, you know. So the other thing I got rid of was all of my accumulated diet programs, diet things that, you know, we go like cabbage soup diet, Atkins diet, carnivore diet, vegan diet, I don't know, eat 3 apples a day. What's that one, like the where you drink the vinegar water and cayenne pepper? You know that one? All of these ones, grapefruit and egg diet, fasting. I threw them all out of the window. All of them. Every single one of them. And I just, for a couple of months, ate what I thought was normal and healthy. What would an average healthy person eat? As I've gone on, I've adjusted that so it's back to what suits me. And, you know, maybe you enjoy the grapefruit and egg diet. And if that's what you want to migrate back to, but I'd say in the beginning, get rid of all of them. Just start fresh. Start from a whole new perspective. And like I said, focus on your protein and your water. I know you're all bored of me saying that, but that is key to this Mounjaro or GLP1 journey, is getting in enough water and enough protein to fuel your body. If giving up everything seems a bit too daunting to you, if you can't stand to get rid of cookies, let's say, and you might actually just find that happens naturally, that you no longer have the taste for them. But if it feels too overwhelming, go with something like a 70-30 rule, or an 85-15, or a 90-10, 80-20, where you get rid of 70% of all of the junk, the processed food and whatever in your life, and you replace that with healthy, and then you have 30% of your favourite snacks, treats, whatever it is. If you can do that, some people can't eat one cookie. They have one cookie and that's the whole sleeve gone. For me, it used to be Walker's cheese and onion crisps or potato chips. I would open a big bag and I would just down the whole lot. Now I can quite easily have, 25 grams or buy a small bag, and that does me. And that's only occasionally. So if you can't stand to give up your treats, then try and incorporate them into your diet by, like I said, doing 70-30, 80-20, something like that. So you're not getting rid of everything, if you need something to look forward to at the end of the day. But you might find, and I certainly did, that in the beginning, I lost my cravings, my taste for a lot of the junk food that I used to eat, along with like appetite suppression and reduced hunger, food noise being very, very reduced. I just naturally gravitated towards healthy food, and that doesn't happen for everybody. But if you do need to keep something in your life, and you can do like one a day or one at the end of the day or something, then try and do that. But do try and get rid of all of the processed foods, because you'll feel a lot better in yourself as well. When you're not ingesting all of that sort of like chemicals and very heavy, processed and chemically kind of like enhanced foods. So if I was to ask you a question, would you rather lose the weight quickly, or would you rather lose the weight slowly? Seems like a no-brainer, really. What about if I changed it around a bit and I said, would you rather lose weight temporarily, or would you rather lose weight sustainably? For me, sustainably works better, or slowly works better, because by losing the weight, there are people out there that are just like shedding 3, 4, 5 pounds a week. I would caution that maybe some of them aren't eating very much at all. They're trying to rapidly get to the lowest weight possible. But when you do it slowly and sort of more mindfully, you're allowing yourself a bit of time to learn better nutrition habits. If you're starting from having no knowledge at all, and I won't name and shame here, but there is somebody that I do follow who by their own admission has very, very little understanding of what healthy foods are. And I think some of us might be shocked by that. And I've tried to rein that in because that's quite judgmental of me. But because I've been dieting for so long, I have sort of gained an idea of what's healthy and what's not healthy. So I think I'm surprised when other people don't know that. But actually, no, I'm not good at maths. So somebody who is good at maths might be surprised at my lack of knowledge about maths, and I don't know, trigonometry, that they might be surprised that I have no concept of how trigonometry works. So I've tried to rein that in a little bit, because just because I know it doesn't mean other people know it. And if you don't know it, then, maybe take some time on this sort of journey to look at, different YouTube videos. What is healthy eating, or, what equates, and see something, again, like people that you want to follow. Look online and see what kind of recipes appeal to you. Like, is there someone that's producing good, healthy food on a day-to-day basis that you can follow? I never do what I eat in a day, because I have unusual eating habits and I have lots of different intolerances. I've said it before, but I don't do what I eat in a day, just because I don't want people to think that what I do is necessarily going to be good for them. I do cut a lot of things out, and I don't want to advocate cutting things out if you don't need to. But I do follow a high protein, low carbohydrate diet. in general. I also think it's really important to point out that obviously on here, I'm talking very much about GLP-1 medications. You know, whatever you're taking, whether it's Zepbound, Wegovy, tirzepatide, Mounjaro, Ozempic, semaglutide, retaglutide. There's all different kinds, different names and different brandings that they use. What I want to say is that I do recognise that people can lose weight without medications, and many of us have in the past. We've lost weight, and many of us have lost a significant amount of weight by not using a medication. However, for me, where I had got to mentally, physically, emotionally in sort of September last year, before I started in October, the thought of starting another diet or doing a different eating program or reintroducing, you know, an old one like Weight Watchers or Slimming World or, you know, whatever, I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. And that's why I gave into the desire to try a medication, because I knew I didn't have the wherewithal in me to do it naturally. And you do see people who are saying, you know, that they've lost weight naturally and, you know, that this no GLP1's or no weight loss medication. And that's amazing. But for many of us, we're so worn down, broken, damaged. You know, they're very extreme words, but for many of us, this is kind of like a little bit of a last ditch for us, you know, and to be able to have a sense of accomplishment, to be able to actually lose weight and start to feel good. And then that momentum carries you forward. I think so many of us want to get to a point in this journey where we can stop the medication and see, have we learnt enough? Have we changed enough? Have we developed enough strong habits to be able to do it on our own? But I also think many of us have come to reconcile that potentially we might need to take the medications long term going forward. I'm keeping that option open. I'm potentially going to end up there if I can't keep the weight off, because I do not want to go back up to 250, 270 pounds. I can't do that again. When I think of the pain I was in, my knees, my ankles. When I went to Chicago, one of the things that my daughter said to me is, you don't limp anymore. Now I have got a very, very damaged ankle, so I always do limp ever so slightly. But she just said to me, you don't limp anymore. And I used to limp on both legs, if that's even possible. But yeah, I used to look like I was all out of kilter, kind of like when I was walking, because I was limping on both legs, because I've got a knee replacement on one leg, and I've got a whole load of metal in my other ankle. So the thought of going back to that, just being able to bend over, like I said, do your shoelaces up, all these things that I'm just able to do now, and I can't ever imagine going there again. But I know potentially if I let things slip, I could end up back there again. So, yeah. So I know it's possible naturally, and I know that, you know, you can do it by diet and exercise alone, but I'm not choosing to do that. I have chosen, for my own sanity, for my own mental health and ability to progress, I've chosen to go the weight loss medication route, and I have zero regrets. Big fat zero regrets. So if you want to try it your own way, do your own way, that's fine. But a lot of people here are coming here to find like-minded souls that have chosen to go on the weight loss medication. So that's why we're all here. So Is £100 a lot of weight? Is £70 a lot of weight? Is £40 a lot of weight? Yes, it is. If you're trying to do it all in one go, then it does feel slightly overwhelming. Feels like you're never going to get there. But if you are breaking it down into these smaller little goals, these smaller steps, these day by day achievements, or even if you're just starting out hour by hour, hour by hour achievements. You know, if you want something, if your head wants something, but your tummy doesn't, and you've got to battle that sort of head tummy dynamic for, you know, an hour, and then actually you have a glass of water and you feel a bit better, then that's the hour by hour. You know, you didn't give in. You had like a little achievement that day. And those start to build up, and you start to trust yourself a little bit more, and you start to maybe set yourself more goals in the day, or some of the things that were big goals in the beginning are now just part of your day-to-day routine. There's so many benefits that I've accrued on Mounjaro since I've been doing it. So many different ways of approaching life, so many different things I've learned about food and what satisfies me and what is good for me in terms of my hunger, or what foods I can eat when I'm not hungry, because that's the other thing that can happen. I've learnt so much, and some of this is just part of my day-to-day routine now, and I don't have to give it any thought. So if it does feel overwhelming, this whole thing just feels overwhelming, just start from where you are and take it day by day. And like I said, do little steps, look at different people, look at what other people are eating, think about what you can incorporate into your day, set small mini goals along the way that you can, you know, tick off and achieve. And before you know it, and I'm speaking personally, before you know it, 8 months has gone and you're down 67 pounds and you're 33 pounds away from £100 weight loss. If I'm going by my very, very, very top weight, which I don't use when I'm reporting my weights here, I'd only have to get to 170 pounds to reach my £100 target. But I'm not using that. I use the starting weight of 247, and that's the one I'm going to stick to. So, you know, I could incorporate that as another goal, but I'm not going to. It doesn't feel right. For me, what feels right is the day I started Mounjaro, and I weighed myself that morning, and that's what I'm using as my baseline. So you do what works for you. If you've lost 30 pounds before Mounjaro, before GLP, I keep saying Mounjaro, that's just because I'm on it. You know, if you've lost 30 pounds before doing something else, or, you know, white knuckling it just by not eating, or reducing calories, or Weight Watchers, or whatever it is you've done, if that helps you, do it. But for me, I just want to sort of say that when I've been on this, I've done the £100 on the GLP1, and for me that will take me to 147. But that's why I'm sort of hovering around the 150 to 140, because who knows how far I'll get. Anyway, my name's Ginger. This is my channel, Ginger Goes GLP1. If you do like what I have to say, then give me a thumbs up, maybe think about subscribing, and do leave me a comment down below. I get back to all comments. If you've got any suggestions of any videos that you'd like me to do, or things you'd like to talk about, maybe something that isn't covered anywhere else, something that other people are doing, then leave me a comment and I'll see if I can incorporate it. I cannot ever guarantee to do what I eat in a day, like I said, just because I don't want people to to think that what I do is run of the mill. And I don't want people to cut things out of their diet that they don't need to cut out of their diet. But yeah, anyway, thanks very much for sticking with me, and I look forward to seeing you all again on Saturday for my next weigh-in. Who knows what's going to happen, because as you know, I've had a really hungry week so far, but I'll give you the update on that on Saturday. But thanks for watching, and see you again very soon.